Australian race drivers battled the sweltering heat on the world's newest and most unusual race circuit. The drivers were hoping to turn their Australian series, Formula Brabham, into an Asian circuit, and Jakarta was a good place to start. But the Indonesian government's motive was far more intriguing. Neil Kearney has this two-part report on the inaugural Indonesian Grand Prix.
As petrol heads go, Indonesians are the luckiest mob on earth. Everywhere else, motor racing fans pay good money for the thrill of a dice with death, to breathe nauseating fumes, to have their eardrums shattered, and to speculate whether tragedy is just seconds away. In Jakarta, that's an average trip to work. For 100 rupiah, or about 15 cents, you too can feel like Ayrton Senna, packed in against 12 million who think they're Alain Prost.
So with all this breathtaking excitement right on their footpaths, why would Jakarta want to build the most expensive new car racetrack in the world? And furthermore, why would they want to bring 17 Formula Brabhams all the way from Australia with 100 crew costing hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, the answer is the cars come here, the cars go there.
The Sentul Racing Circuit. 18 months ago, it was a paddy field. But just as many hands make light work, many hands watched by men in uniforms move mountains. And with Jakarta having almost as many people as all of Australia, many hands make it without such technological marvels as wheelbarrows. And no, I don't know what a bang pit is. Maybe it's where these blokes land if the rope breaks. Workers putting finishing touches to the latest grandstand.
When you look at that facility there and you look what they've built in less than 3 months from nothing. There wasn't even foundations in when we were here.
Tim Schenken and other Australian Grand Prix officials have been flown in to help the Indonesians run their first Grand Prix.
You have each corner has a number or a name?
A number.
A number.
We start from one to...
The Aussies and their Formula Brabhams are here because the Australian open-wheeler class is the nearest thing in this part of the world to Formula One. And the Indonesians are running this event to show the world that they want a Formula One Grand Prix. They want it whatever the cost, whatever telephone numbers they spend to build this circuit.
I believe they've spent to date $65 million US, and when the complex is finished, bearing in mind it's going to have a hotel and a golf course, they will have spent $120 million.
There's a powerful reason why the Indonesian government wants Formula One, and not just the public relations exposure to the 600 million worldwide TV audience. After all, public relations has never been a big concern of the Indonesian government. No, the reason is this racing driver. Not one of the world's great drivers, but certainly the richest, and probably the most influential. Tommy Suharto, the president's youngest son. Tommy acts like a rich kid, but he spends his pocket money wisely. He owns shopping centres, banks, the airline which just usurped many of Garuda's routes. And when the Hard Rock Cafe came to Jakarta, Tommy decided he'd own that too. What Tommy wants, Tommy gets. And as owner of this circuit, he wants Formula One.
Is this a dream come true for you?
Dream comes true. Yeah.
Well, so and so. I think so. Because we work hard to build these circuits, and we are very proud and happy. I think what we have done with this.
Without Tommy, would all this happen?
No way. If not Tommy, no way.
Tinton Suharto is the track president.
Now, Tinton, you're the boss here.
Not the boss, I just in charge here. My boss is Tommy.
Tommy's your boss.
Yeah.
What are your chances for Sunday?
I don't know yet. I have to work on the engine first, because the engine is not working well.
But the driver's enthusiastic.
I'll do my best.
As you go, fellas.
Tommy will be doing his best in a $500,000 Reynard in this Grand Prix against 17 Australian Formula Brabham drivers. The Brabham men hope that this event will launch their formula into an Asian circuit. But first, they must overcome the heat.
It's an experience.
Well, it actually is. We're losing up to around about 7 kilos per race, actually. It's very hot. It's probably around about, I'd say about 110 degrees.
As the Brabhams go through qualifying for the Grand Prix, upstairs the press conferences are a curiosity in themselves. The first is scheduled for 11, postponed to 1, and eventually at 2:30 we join the horde with former world champ Alan Jones, who'd come along just as an intrigued bystander.
Alan Jones, you can come in the front.
And up there?
Yeah, you are my special guest today.
Much to Jones's surprise, the press conference is for Jones. Though what Jakarta's 33 newspapers will make of this is anyone's guess.
We hope one day the F1 will be running in this country, and we hope. And you are one of the drivers in that car, no?
No.
Oh, no?
No.
Why you retired from F1? Everybody want to. Because you get more money to be a commentator, or just too dangerous?
Well, you obviously don't know very much about commentating or Formula One, because I can assure you get a damn sight lot more money driving Formula One than what you do commentating.
What kind of facility is going to present if we want to make the Formula One championship in Indonesia?
While Jones attempts gasoline diplomacy, and heaven help him if he gives the wrong answer, the fastest qualifier on the track is Griffith-born Mark Larkham. As for Tommy Suharto, well, for the second day in a row, he fails to get past the first corner.
What happened?
The engine blew up.
Blow up.
Yeah.
Is that the end for you?
No, I think they have the spare of the engine.
Fix it overnight.
Yeah, right tomorrow morning.
Disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, on the evening before the Grand Prix, the crew of Mr. Tommy Suharto are in for a long and nerve-wracking night, knowing the answer must be in there somewhere. And after this break, we'll see the heat really on as D-Day dawns on the Indonesian Grand Prix.
AJ, Alan Jones honesty there. Motor racing and being paid as a sports commentator. Well, in the second part of his report on the Indonesian Grand Prix, Neil Kearney looks at the race itself and its aftermath.
For the first time, Tommy's dad, the country's head of state, has come to watch him race. That's the president in the grandstand, somewhere behind the bulletproof glass.
Asian Grand Prix. Neil Kearney outlined the events that entice some of Australia's top drivers to Jakarta. In the second part, he looks at the race itself and the bizarre role of the Indonesian government in its promotion.
As if Jakarta's hot, smelly air isn't enough, most of the 12 million people smoke. The evil weed, or more precisely, the government's encouragement of tobacco advertising, is why Indonesia could snaffle one of the 16 existing Formula One events from countries whose governments are banning cigarette sponsorship. And today, when the Formula Brabhams from Australia will race around the brand new circuit in the Indonesian Grand Prix, we can find just one critic of the dreaded fags, one dissenter, the little lady taking these kids for a rehearsal for the opening ceremony.
Everyone seems to smoke. Do you smoke?
No, because I am a teacher for the sport, so I didn't smoke.
Well, how come everyone else in Indonesia seems to smoke?
Oh, no, not everybody.
Not everybody?
Yes, because I am a teacher. How must my stamina? I must have that I have my power and all.
So you don't smoke those wretched
No.
But the government's going to get a Grand Prix, it thinks, because of the cigarette advertising.
Yes, I know that, but what can I do? There's the money, see, you see.
Money.
Yes.
It's a wretched thing, isn't it?
But for the health, it's not good, I think.
In the pits, the smoke is cleared after overnight surgery on the body of Mr. Tommy Suharto's race car. For today's inaugural Indonesian Grand Prix, one car has had to have an overnight adjustment, though a not completely unexpected adjustment. Because of problems with the car's engine, the driver has received official permission to install the original Formula 3000 engine, which just happens to be 150 horsepower better than all the others. Now that driver is, surprise, surprise, Mr. Tommy Suharto.
If the engine loses with the body, I think it's a big crash.
Tommy's even flown Larry Perkins from Australia to advise his advisors, because for the first time, Tommy's dad, the country's head of state, has come to watch him race. That's the president in the grandstand, somewhere behind the bulletproof glass. As the delightfully named Bulldozer Band clears the track, 3 Indonesian drivers and 17 Australians, among them Mark Scaife, Mark McLaughlin and pole marker Mark Larkham, await the start. As they roar off, the last car, having failed to register a qualifying time, is Mr. Tommy Suharto, trailing a swarm of very fast Aussies.
Bapak Suharto dan saudara-saudara, kita lihat beberapa riding. Ya, dia melintir di R1 di tikungan pertama. Itu berarti kecepatannya sekitar 165 km per jam.
The TV coverage goes out to 190 million Indonesians. Make that 190 million and one. Before you can say smile for the cameras, Mr. Tommy Suharto is back in the pits, watching the action on TV. And his inglorious exit is replayed repeatedly, followed by a shot of Dad's impassive reaction. How far did he get?
Well, just past the first corner.
Yesterday just got to the first corner too.
And the day before.
He's having a bit of bad luck. Do you reckon it's to dampen his enthusiasm for motorsport?
Well, I'm sure it's dented his enthusiasm, but he recognised all the reasons why it's happened, and he's actually more full of enthusiasm and more determined to get it right now.
Saudara-saudara, akhirnya Mark Larkham dari Australia.
The finish is all Australian. Mark Larkham from Paul Stoker with Mark Scaife third. And Larkham's celebration is memorable. It's a nice show of victory on the final.
Well, I sort of, after yesterday's race, I sort of had a bit of a side of the straight, just in the anticipation of a win. I thought I might sort of go up there and try and impress the president.
Wonder what he felt.
I could see him smiling.
The president's official reaction to the Formula Brabhams is one of approval, which means all Indonesia is embracing this Australian class of open-wheelers. And as for Tommy and those dreams of F1, well, it's going to take truckloads of money to buy a Formula 1 Grand Prix for Jakarta. But then cash flow is one problem Tommy Suharto doesn't have.
In the Formula 1 world, you can jump the queue fairly quickly if you can find the greenies.
And they've got a few greenies?
Yes, at the end that Tommy's at, I think he's capable of jumping the queue fairly quickly.
Not necessarily, though, an ability. We trust you're enjoying this edition of Sports Sunday. Here's a preview of what's ahead on the show.